So you mentioned the alliances should be formed after the election. What do you see as the ACDP's role in after the election? What would the ACDP contribute to make South Africa work? What do you? I think I can probably guess your answer in terms of you would bring back God, Jesus, into the discussions. And is that about right? Or what would be your summary in terms of what will be ACDP's role in an alliance after the election? How will you make South Africa work?
There are policies that the ACDP have that are common sense policies. And I'll give you some examples. When it comes, there are people in government who agree that Africa should be united and there should be no borders. ACDP will never agree with that. The question we'll ask them is, if you have a Hitler, you are only one country, you want one government, okay? You have Hitler. What are you going to do? Or you have Idi Amin, or you have Robert Mugabe, who's the president. What are you going to do? Under these circumstances, where every country, where we have borders, countries that are not protecting their people, or countries that are unstable, their members or their citizens are able to run away to countries where there is stability. We have many illegal people in South Africa who have run away from countries that are unstable or that have wars and so on. All right. So ACDP will make sure that the country does not take that route. Those who are saying one Africa, one government, the ACDP will say common sense is, remember, you need to have plan B. If plan A does not work, you have plan B. That's the first thing. Secondly, we will have to have borders. And those borders must be looked after very well. They must be protected to ensure that you do not have illegal immigrants. South Africa has a problem of crime. And many times the people who are blamed are the illegal immigrants. Because even when they are arrested, they don't have fingerprints. You can't link them to the crime. So it's a massive problem. So the issue of border management, the ACDP will bring in tough measures to ensure that our borders are properly protected and respected. And thirdly, on the issue of crime, we don't want to make friends with criminals. You know, government, the ANC chose to change the word police force to police service. Why? Because they were looking forward to being friends with criminals. No. ACDP says criminals must be punished severely, okay? We want to be friends of law-abiding citizens and not friends of criminals. So on the issue of crime, the ACDP has a blueprint that can make sure that South Africa becomes a safe haven for all those who live in it. And maybe the last thing I can throw in now, we'll make sure that there are industries and jobs who are created, because every investor would like to invest in a country where they are safe, in a country where their family is safe, in a country where their assets are safe. But South Africa is failing to attract investors because, you know, many South Africans who are protesting, when they're upset, they touch everything. They touch everything. Crime is so high. Investors are attacked. Foreigners, we want order. The ACDP will bring order. Those that will be working with us after the elections, we will ensure that there is order and we make South Africa a beautiful country that will be an envy of people outside South Africa.
You mentioned that you see that John Steenhuisen might be treating people like, and generally the DA treats people like school children, and John Steenhuisen is the headmaster. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to me because I hear this a lot from different political parties, this idea that the DA is patronizing, that they're arrogant. Yeah. And some people like Herman Mashaba, he's much more direct. He thinks, basically, he accuses them of racism. He says that they don't tolerate a smart black person. I think that was his words. I might be paraphrasing. Why do you think the DA has this brand? Why do you think they treat people like this?
I think it has to do with their background. You know, when a person has a problem of race and they don't want to admit, that problem would never be solved. You can never solve a problem until you admit there is a problem. You can never correct a mistake until you acknowledge this is a mistake. So they will say, no, we are not a racist. But if you look at their leadership and you talk to members who have left the DA, all of them will tell you, hey, issues of race, our opinions are not taken seriously. That's why we left. Our opinions are not important. That's why we left. So the issue of race is definitely, you look at their outlook, you look at their membership, definitely the issue of race still plays a very, very important role. And it has to do with where they come from, the past. Unless they accept that we are equal before God, even though some have better education than the others, but the fact is, when it comes to standing before the Lord, we are all equal. Let those who qualify, those with proper qualification, be in leadership, be part of the decision-making structures, then we can say they have changed. But from those who have left them, and from those our eyes are seeing and our ears are hearing now, definitely there's still a lot of challenges they have regarding racism.
But Kenneth, a person like Helen Zille, she literally hid anti-apartheid fighters in her home. So why do you think, I mean, a person like Helen Zille is obviously a prominent member of the DA. Why do you think, how did this happen? I'm struggling to see how this happened, because a lot of these people were fiercely against apartheid and the ideas of apartheid. So how do you reconcile this? From my side, I struggle to understand this. How can this party be racist yet have this anti-apartheid roots?
That's a difficult one. I wish I had an answer for you. It's a difficult one. But when there is a cause, a single cause, to fight one enemy, it's easy for people of race groups, different race groups, to come together. All right? And after you have fought this, you leave. You don't make this coming together of yours is not going to make rules that are going to be binding on you. We are just here to fight this monster, to fight this apartheid. And thereafter, everybody goes home. But now, if you, after you, the monster has been fought and the monster has died, now the question is, who is going to lead? Who are going to be the leaders? Then the challenge comes. If it's a black person, are we going to support that black person? Or we are going to pull the strings from behind, as it happened with Musi Maimane? Musi Maimane will tell you, I was a leader who could not exercise his authority without consulting those with a lighter complexion. So I've seen them lead without consulting me, but I cannot lead without consulting them. So there's a problem, okay? The problem of color is definitely still an issue with many people in the country. So it's not only the DA, it's everywhere. Even in the ANCDP, there are members on the ground who would not want a person of another color to come into the house, sleep into the house, and so on, all right? The issue of color, the issue of racism, obviously, is much deeper than we can think. And for a person to say, I am not going to entertain racism in my heart, I repent for the racist attitude I've had in the past. I'm going to treat everybody respectfully. They are in my house. If they are in my house, I'm going to treat them respectfully. Do you know that during apartheid, I could visit some white people, but they would not give me food or drinks or coffee with the same cups. Okay, there were some that were kept aside for people like me. All right. And they say, no, we are brothers and sisters. Thereafter they come, they hug you, we are brothers and sisters. It's much deeper than that. And so when people during protests, they stand together, and after the protest, everybody go home, and they cannot bring somebody of a different culture into their house, then it shows that there is a problem.
Fascinating. Kenneth, my last question is, why aren't the churches more vocal? I believe, or I know, the churches were much more vocal during apartheid against the apartheid regime. Why are not more church leaders speaking out against the ANC?
Hey, that is very, very sad. That is very, very sad. Blind loyalty is one reason. Blind loyalty. I am going to be loyal to this person, to this movement, regardless of the mistakes they make, regardless of their failures. I'm going to support them. Why? Because they are our liberators. You have no idea how many members of the ANC have said, we are sick and tired. We will not vote for them again. But when the ANC comes with a food parcel and with a T-shirt, some of them change their minds again, okay? We are hoping that what has happened in this country has been so bad, so devastating, that people will not change their minds. If you can go according to what people are saying, won't vote for them again, and they don't vote for them again, I promise you, the ANC will be out. Okay, pastors, a lot of pastors are hungry. They need food. So ANC is in government. They have food parcels that we don't have as the ANCDP. So they say, okay, as long as these people put food on our table, we are going to vote for them. So issue of poverty, issue of lack of resources is counting why they are still voting for them. But the other big one is that many pastors are cowards, to be honest with you. Many are cowards. Many are scared to speak out. During the struggle and during protest, some were supporting from behind, pushing from behind, but standing in front and facing a policeman, a white man, a government official, and say, this is wrong. Many of them could not do it, but they could just, because it was a mass mobilization, they would say, I don't want to be seen to be different. I don't want to be seen to be opposed to them. Let me join them. You know that when we started the ANCDP, we were threatened, terribly threatened. I personally, with my wife in the car, we were threatened with petrol bombs, all right? And some people asked us a question. They came to our church. Why are you opposing Nelson Mandela? They would ask that question. Why are you opposing Nelson Mandela? You know, when you are in a fix like that, and these people, you realize they're angry, you make a quick prayer, Lord, give me an answer. What am I going to say? Give me an answer. And the Lord gave me an answer. I said, Lord, I would say, I'm not against Nelson Mandela. So what are you doing in the ANCDP? No, in Parliament, Nelson Mandela, who we are praying for right now, is going to need people to pray for even in Parliament. So I want to go to Parliament to pray for Nelson Mandela in Parliament. So, we didn't know that, okay? All right, so that's some of the wisdom that God gave us to escape. But they are not scared. They are not courageous enough. They are scared to stand. Thank God that some of us are not scared. Some of us are not afraid. If they were scared, the street would be full of pastors who say, we are tired of crime. We are tired of what our children are doing to us as adults and as parents. We are tired of being controlled by children. And we are tired of government forcing us to teach sexuality education that is not appropriate for our children. They would be saying it. They're not saying it. We visit them many times. Yeah, no, pastor, no Mfundisi, no president. I understand this wrong, but you know, there are members of the ANC in my church who are tithers. If I stand up, they will say, oh, so you're against the ANC? We are not going to give you tithe anymore. So a number of factors. Many of them are just scared to speak out. But secondly, many don't want to lose tithers who belong to the ANC in their churches.
Wow, that's sad. Okay, but Kenneth, I see we're running over time. This has been really amazing. Thank you so much. I see the summary is, and you can correct my summary, you can add to it what you want, but I see the summary as Kenneth is a man of God, a man of Christ. We've covered a lot of problems in South Africa, and the ACDP, you've presented the solutions to those problems, like crime, fixing borders, that you're not willing to be part of the Moonshot Pact, and you laid out why. But do you see anything that you want to add to that summary? And what is there anything, an optimistic message perhaps, that you'd like to add?
What people will have to know about the ACDP is that no money will buy us. We will defend what you don't want or what you have so that you don't lose it. And we will oppose what you don't want. People who are listening are looking for a party they can trust, a party that will not change because there's money that is involved, as is happening right now. That party is the ACDP. We will not pull punches. We will not be scared to say the president is wrong. World Economic Forum is wrong, where they are wrong. World Health Organization is wrong, where it is wrong. Why? Because we have the courage to speak out in defense of biblical principles and also the values that we know can make South Africa a better country. The values, let me close with this one value, the value called respect. The ACDP is saying what no other party has said, okay? We are saying respect in 4 levels. Number 1, respect for God. Number 2, respect for self. If you don't respect yourself, how do you expect others to respect you? Number 3, respect for your neighbor. You won't steal from your neighbor if you respect your neighbor. Number 4, respect for property. If you're upset, you are not going to destroy property because property also has to be respected, particularly property that is assisting you and the citizenry. Okay, so the ACDP is definitely a party to vote for. No country will succeed without respect, particularly for property and infrastructure. You know that with every protest that is taking place, the burning of tires, after those tires have been burned on the streets, marks are left on the streets. Not long when it rains, you have potholes exactly where those tires were. They know it, they do it, government does not condemn it. ACDP will ensure that when we are part of the management and government governing South Africa, we will ensure that many of the wrongs they're doing today are not done. We believe godly governance is the way to go. The way to go, we need God. South Africa needs God. All parties must know it. We will be saying it even going towards the elections when we campaign. Without God, South Africa is going to sink deeper into this bottomless pit. But thank you very much, Donald, for having me. I enjoyed every minute of our discussion. South Africa is a great country. Please never be tempted to leave South Africa because South Africa has a great future, sir.
Great. Thank you so much, Kenneth. This has been really interesting. Thank you for your time. And thank you so much for the work you do and what your party does.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Donald.